Going to the cinema, the pictures, the movies, whatever you called it, filled us with excitement back in the day, didn't it? We came to see our favourite stars, didn't we? In magnificent buildings. Maybe if you were a man, you liked a bit of Jimmy Cagney action. You dirty brother, you killed my rat. Or if you're a woman, maybe you came to swoon at one of Cary Grant's romantic comedies. I'm sorry, my dear, I seem to have misplaced my dignity. Or maybe if you're a bit younger, it was Sean Connery for you in Dr. No. Ah, Miss Moneypenny. But whatever cinema we went to, many of them have either changed use or they're gone altogether. And in this video, we're going to look at 4 cinemas that you possibly went to back in the day. Excuse the graffiti. So are you ready? Lights, camera, and action!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So I'm standing right outside the first one, or at least where it used to be. Right here at 126 Renfield Street. Yes, it was Green's Playhouse. Green's Playhouse opened its doors to a very excited public in 1927, lasting for 46 years until it was sold in 1973 to become the Glasgow Apollo. At the time, it was one of the biggest cinemas in Europe, and it's hard to imagine how exciting that must have been in 1927. Remember, there was no tellies back then. Tellies didn't begin to be a regular household item until the 40s and 50s, with a big surge in 1953. Loads of tenement flats and houses in Glasgow didn't even have an inside toilet. So to be able to come to a place and lose yourself in the golden age of Hollywood was escapism at its very best. Did you come here back in the day maybe to see Humphrey Bogart? Here's looking at you, kid. By the way, I just do the same voice for everybody. Here's a bit of trivia. That line wasn't meant to be in the film, but during one of the breaks, Ingrid Bergman was playing poker with her English voice coach and her hairdresser, and Humphrey Bogart just looked at her and said that famous line, "Here's looking at you, kid." And you know, it was so good they put it in the film. That line's of course from Casablanca 1942, but maybe for you it was Taxi 1932 with Jimmy Cagney. "You dirty brother, you killed my rat." Of course I know that's not the line. It's "You dirty rat, you killed my brother," right? Wrong. The actual line was, "Come out and take it, you dirty yellow-bellied rat, or I'll give it to you through the door." But who can remember all that, right? By the way, when I said, "Did you come here to see Taxi 1932?" I didn't mean in 1932, because if you were old enough to come and see a film in 1932, then you'd be about 100 or more by now. And if you're watching this video and you're 100, you're a legend. Anyway, back to the cinema. The cinema boasted golden divans on the balcony where you could go for a wee snuggle up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, a wee bar of chocolate each, a wee cup of Coca-Cola and a wee tub of ice cream off the usherette, and settle down to watch a nice wee romantic comedy called Psycho? Oh no, you've brought me into the wrong film. Well, you get more cuddles if you took it to see a scary film, right guys? But like many cinemas in Glasgow, it started to go into decline as more and more households acquired a television set. Anyway, here's a story my late grandpa told me about the time he went to buy a telly back in 1953. Of course, my grandpa had no car back then, and in order to get this television from the shop back to his house, he enlisted the help of a wee Glasgow boy who just happened to be passing by with a wheelbarrow. As you do. "Hey wee man, I'll give you £0.50 if you lend me your wheelbarrow to take this big telly back to my house." "Did you just say £0.50, mister?" "I certainly did. A whole £0.50. "Aye, sure thing, mister." And off they went trundling down the road with this big monstrosity. 99% mahogany, 1% screen. About the size of a postage stamp. There you go, son. There's your wheelbarrow back. And there's your Hoffa-croon. Now you'll be able to take your bird to the pictures with that. Then buy the both of yous a fish supper. Then take her home in the tram. Then on the way home you can maybe pop in and get yourself a couple of ounces of sour plums. And then if you get any change left after that, you can maybe buy yourself a house and a car. So that's Green's Playhouse, 1927 to 1973. Did you go to either? Be sure to let me know in the comments. Now, for our second cinema, it's on the same road. Just down there. Let's go. Ah, the Odeon, here at 56 Renfield Street. When you look at the Odeon, what film jumps out at you? For me, it's a film that caused a queue to go all the way down Renfield Street and all the way down Union Street and even round the corner into Argyle Street. Can you think of what film that was? It opened on the very last day of 1934 as the Paramount Theatre, situated on a large corner site with its imposing facade lit up by neon lighting at night. The cinema had the capacity to seat 2,784 people. It had a grand opening event where a Compton theatre organ rose up from under the stage at the flick of a switch. Sir Harry Lauder led the audience in Hogmanay songs, that's New Year's Eve in case you don't know, concluding with Auld Lang Syne. Do you know that way when you've been having a night in a pub and you don't want the night to end, and one of the group says, right everybody back to my house for a party? Well, that's exactly what they've done here in this cinema. After their night's celebrations and after they concluded singing their songs, they headed down to the Central Hotel to continue the party there. 600 of them. Went down that road, and the hotel's just right down there. Although it was built primarily as a cinema, it was also equipped with a large, fully equipped stage. Famous bands to play here were none other than the Rolling Stones. Oh, and this other wee band called, what was their name again? Oh yeah, the Beatles. Ever heard of them? I remember my dad telling me he went to see Bill Haley and his Comets in there in February 1957, and he said they brought the house down. Can you imagine? A 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock rock. Right, enough of that. Sorry. In fact, there were two films that I remember having a queue all the way down the road. But more about that later. Logan's Run in 1976. What a fantastic film that was. Michael York and Jenny Agutter living in a domed city where you're terminated at the age of 30 and they go on the run. But it was the following year that was the first biggie for me. In 1977, The Spy Who Loved Me. My favourite Bond film down to this day. No, not because it's the best, but because it's got so much nostalgia wrapped up in it for me. Let's face it, Roger Moore played Bond with a bit of tongue-in-cheek, but you had the underwater Lotus car, the theme with Carly Simon, Nobody Da... Sorry. The Spy Who Loved Me played for 17 weeks in this cinema, becoming the most popular film ever to play in there, up until that date. And the queue, well, that was one of the ones where the queue went all the way down the road. But the real biggie for me, you know the one where the queue went all the way down Renfield Street, Union Street, and even round into Argyle Street? It was, drumroll please, Star Wars. I remember it as if it was yesterday. Me and my pal Eric just standing in the queue, waiting to get in here to see Star Wars. And who knew that Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and R2-D2 and C-3PO and Princess Leia would make such an indelible mark on the world of cinema? It was indeed a space masterpiece. And I saw it right here in 1978. Although the film was released in 77, it didn't come to the cinemas here in Glasgow until 1978. And do you remember the adverts we used to get in the cinema? One that sticks in my mind was the Kia Ora advert, "I'll be your dog." And how can we forget the Indian restaurant adverts we used to get just across the road from this cinema? And it would show you pictures of Peely Wally curries on the screen, and we would all go, "Woo, because the most exotic thing I had ever eaten up to that point was a frozen barbecue rib steak from Master Freeze. See me, see my man, see Master Freeze. And we used to get two films to watch, didn't we? We had the B movie, and some of those B movies went on to be cult classics. Maybe it was a Ray Harryhausen film we saw as the B movie, complete with juddery stop-motion plastic dinosaurs, causing terror to fur-clad actors that hid in caves with polystyrene rocks, led of course by scantily clad Racco Welsh. Well, you had to have something for the dads to watch, while the kids marvelled at the dinosaurs. Ah, it was just marvellous, truly marvellous. What films did you see at this cinema? Be sure to let me know in the comments. By the way, if you're enjoying this kind of content, please hit subscribe, at least like the video, and possibly hype. Thank you. Now, for our third cinema, we have to go to Sauchiehall Street. Can you think what one next? Let's go. La Scala was here at 147 to 163 Sauchiehall Street, one of Glasgow's early cinemas. It opened on the 17th of October 1912. It was converted from an existing warehouse rather than being a purpose-built cinema, and at the time of its opening it was one of Glasgow's largest cinemas with the capacity to seat 1,500 people. And do you want to know a really interesting thing about this cinema? Patrons could actually sit down and have a cup of tea while watching the picture, making it particularly popular with courting couples. It was also described as having fountains in the foyer and a restaurant. I've got another story to tell you about this cinema, as told to me by my gran. Yes, the wife of the grandpa with the telly and the wheelbarrow story. And it took place during the war. Now, she had gone into the cinema. Now, I don't know, I can't remember why she went into the cinema, whether she'd gone in to see a film or whether she was ushered in. And I'll tell you why. Because there had been an air raid happening. And it was possible that was it the military police you called them? The Dad's Army. It's possibly they ushered everybody into the cinema, I don't know. But whatever the story was, she ended up in the cinema for 6 whole hours. Now, as you can imagine, they were starting to get hungry in there. And so all the women were looking in their bags to see what they had to share with one another. One would pipe up, "I've got a lovely soft pan loaf if anybody wants a slice." Somebody else would pipe up, "And I've got some lovely corned beef, I just go out the butcher's." And so, despite the war being the terrible atrocity that it was, it sure brought people together in these troublesome times. And that story always stuck with me when my gran told me that, 40 years ago? Well, she's been dead. She's been dead nearly 40 years, yeah, so it's always stuck with me. And that was inside this cinema here, La Scala. I've got something else to tell you. I saw my favourite film of all time in here. Can you guess what the best film of all time was? No debate. Before I tell you, I need to change my hat. Now can you tell what the best film of all time was? Yes, it was Gone with the Wind. No, I'm only kidding, it was Jaws. Jaws, it's the best film ever made. You can't convince me otherwise. I know what you're going to say, the shark was made of rubber and you could see it bending in the middle and all that. Yeah, I can see that very clearly. But it's not about the technicalities of the film, it's about the nostalgia. When I see that film, it instantly transports me back in time. The music from John Williams, oh, the best soundtrack ever. I just absolutely adore that film. I've seen it about 100 times and I still go in the water. So did you ever come to La Scala back in the day? Be sure to let me know in the comments and let me know what film you saw. Yes, Jaws and one other film instantly takes me back in time. And to find out what that other film is, well, I saw that in their 4th and final cinema. And that's in the same road as La Scala, just up the road. Can you guess that one? Let's go. The ABC Cinema stood here at 326 Sauchiehall Street. Sadly, the building is no longer here due to not one, but 2 huge fires at the Glasgow School of Art right behind it. The first fire was in 2014. That's the Glasgow School of Art being refurbished. Let's hope it doesn't go on fire a 3rd time. But the ABC miraculously escaped unscathed. But 4 years later, in 2018, a much more devastating fire occurred, again at the Glasgow School of Art. But this time, the old cinema was seriously damaged. Now, do you remember I said that it was 2 films that instantly transported me back in time? One was, of course, Jaws. Oh yeah, I've changed my hat. And the other came to this cinema in 1978. Can you think of what one that was? You're the one that I want. Sorry. Well, I keep forgetting. Yes, of course, it was Grease, starring John Travolta and the most beautiful Olivia Newton-John, one of my first crushes, along with Marie Osmond and Lena Zavaroni and Agneta Falskog from ABBA and Linda Carter from Wonder Woman and Susan George and Goldie Hawn and Jane Seymour with that long hair and Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman, and Farrah Fawcett from Charlie's Angels and Barbara Bach from The Spy Who Loved Me and Kate Bush and Debbie Harry from Blondie. And others. I saw Roller Coaster in there too. Do you remember Roller Coaster? It was in Sensurround. Do you remember all the cinema all rumbled? That was brand new technology in the day. The building went through many changes through the years. Diorama, Panorama, Ice Skating Palace, Hengler's Circus, Waldorf Palais. Did you ever come to this cinema? What did you see? Let me know in the comments. By the way, I used to go to a nightclub in there. Will I do nightclubs? It was called Maestro's. Anyway, not the best place to do my outro. At the top of this big steep hill that I've just walked up. I can hardly breathe. Have you enjoyed watching this video about the old forgotten cinemas? Did you come to any of them? Let me know in the comments and let me know if you'd like me to do a part 2. All depends how well this video does, of course. But as always, thank you for joining me. Take care everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye now. I never used to struggle coming up that hill back in the 70s, I'll tell you that much.